big project there. So I'll turn things over to Director Rao.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to introduce, we have Mr. Dave Kozak here tonight. Dave's a senior project manager with EXP. He was involved actually in the downtown Newcastle as well. So they were successful in RFP for the downtown Chatham redesign. So I guess we asked Mr. Kozak to take the elements of the downtown plan and develop, new traffic, I guess, plan for this area, and specifically the intersection of Water and Johnson Avenue and entrance to Station Wharf Marina. So Dave's here he got a concept plan that we think works well, and we're here to present it and kind of go over if you guys have any questions, about it. So I'll leave it to Dave here to talk some more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Good evening, Your Worship, Council. Thanks for having me here tonight. So as Darren explained, we've been working away on some upgrades to the corridor between Johnson Avenue and Duke Street along Water. In particular, looking to change the flow of traffic there, make it back to from a one-way to a two-way, and provide some better connectivity down to the wharf development that you've got going on down there, and as well cleaning up the intersection, which really is not well defined at this point in time. So providing a little bit of clarity there. So we've looked at a few different options, and this is the one that's sort of brought forward tonight. It's also one that's quite consistent with your downtown master plan that you had engaged a few years ago. So it sort of aligns with everything there. Some key highlights here. Certainly changing the flow of traffic will be a big thing. We've modeled different vehicle movements down the flow of Water Street, heading down to the wharf. So, it provides a direct access for tour buses. It also will provide a direct access point down there for people towing boats and other activities. Provides a little bit of cleanup and sort of a better flow of operation, and enhances pedestrian crossing ability at the intersection with Water Street and Johnson Avenue. And as well, it'll extend a proposed sidewalk along the side of Scotia Bank down to match up to the recently constructed sidewalk down on the waterfront. As well, one nice highlight here, it does preserve the existing on-street parking in front of O'Donoghue's. You still have the ability to park vehicles in there. They'll just be facing a different direction. And it cleans up the intersection at Duke Street and where Duke and Water comes together through there, and also provides enhanced pedestrian crossing opportunities and a crossing opportunity for people across Duke and Water Street at that location. Some other key highlights you can see sort of at the intersection where Water is just opposite Scotia Bank there. It's a very, I would say, an enlarged concrete bulb, if you will. And the envisioned idea there is to expand the available sidewalk space in that area. And in doing so also enhances the safety by switching it back to a two-directional flow. It helps drivers sort of minimize and reduce potential right-hand turning conflicts for people to go back onto one-way on Water Street. So certainly provides a big enhancement to the entire neighborhood in there. I guess from a construction perspective, it's mostly it'll be mostly surface features that get reconstructed through there: curb alignments, sidewalk. There'll be some required relocation of some storm sewer catch basins, but it won't be sort of the invasive street reconstruction where people dig down and have to replace the gravels and pipe network in there. So that's pretty much it at a very high level, and in a quick summary. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have on that.
Yes, thank you. We'll go to questions. Councillor King, but we'll make sure that we have time for everybody's questions and comments.
Thank you. Thanks for your presentation.
Sure.
Just is there just going to be stop signs, or do we have lights there?
No, it'll be four-way stop signs.
Okay. Another question I have is where the road is, where the cars are going to park going down.
Right.
The question I have is on the outdoor activities they have, the dualies, that's going to take away from that, take that sidewalk over there, right? O'Donoghue's, I mean?
No, actually, in front of O'Donoghue's, you can see the road is actually shifting a little further away. So it's actually going to be expanding the area in front of O'Donoghue's, and certainly as you get down towards the
Oh, yes,
intersection
okay.
area, it's actually going to be much larger than it is now. We've got a sort of it's maybe misleading because there's a dark, solid black line
Yes.
on the back side of the curb. That's more or less just to maintain the curb width, but it's envisioned that that would be finished all the way back to the building fronts that it is now.
Okay.
So your space in there is actually going to be much larger than you have right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Oh, sorry, Pat.
And thank you for the presentation. I guess I'm directing this at Director Rao. Darren, as I look where Duke and water come together, there's still an angle, and wouldn't this be an opportunity to get an engineer? I'm not fully conceding that, to straighten that out, which would be consistent with some of our other more recent projects? Or am I way off base there? And if I'm off base, I'll apologize.
No, I just want to try to understand, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, just show me there.
Like right here, like be a chance to straighten that out so we're at on, like, which is what we did in a few other projects in recent years.
Yeah, so I guess we are straightening it out a bit and make it more 90 degrees, correct, Dave?
Absolutely. There's a little twist towards the end, and it's actually bringing the road. You might have to, I don't know if you can scroll that up a little bit more, Darren, but it actually does straighten it out considerably from where it is. You can see in behind the sidewalk on the, I guess it'd be on the bottom left-hand side
Right
where
here,
the turn
kind of
arrows
straighten
are.
that out.
That's where the road's actually being straightened.
Yeah.
So you're coming in at less of an acute angle, and you're turning it more into a 90-degree intersection.
Okay.
It does require sort of encroaching a little bit over towards the gas bar side to gain a little extra space through there, but it does straighten it out from where it was previously.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Quinn, you're good?
Oh, sorry,
Yep, okay. Councillor Arsenault.
Just heading over to where the former Choo Choo's is that a sidewalk? Like, are we forming an actual curb there so that people are no longer running into barricades?
Presently, that's what we're looking at, is that there is no sidewalk there because the sidewalk for the wharf is actually on the other side of the road. It's just, it's proposed to put a concrete, or I shouldn't say concrete, a curb line in there, and that would provide some definition right now because right now there's no real lane assignment. Cars are driving sort of willy-nilly all through there, so this would help clean it up and provide a little more definition for motorists through there.
Yep, it's absolutely just
And
floor
just my last question is around the Scotia Bank. Is that now a sidewalk rather than parking?
That is what's envisioned at this point in time, and what that would do is extend your pedestrian connectivity from Water Street through the area where they sort of have side parking on the side of the building right now. It would go right through with the sidewalk and then connect to your wharf development through there. So, you know, certainly enhance everybody's walking experience down through there a little safer.
Thank you.
make it a lot safer, I think, for people heading back home from big festivals and events down on the waterfront too. Councillor Duplessis.
Thank you, Your Worship. Big fan of this project. I think it corrects a lot of the issues, both with the one-way traffic. I mean, it wasn't rare to be sitting at O'Donoghue's and a car come down there, especially folks visiting town. And then I know the infamous intersection by Scotia Bank. I know Mavis, my driving instructor, she would take us through there and put us through the paces, and it was a bit of an oddity for traffic. So I think this does correct. I think it does strengthen the safety, especially for pedestrians, not just on the Scotia Bank end of it, but up where the new Tim Hortons is. I have nightmares about that intersection, so I think we are correcting that quite well. My question is around the what we would call the Dewey's building on the corner. It was referenced at one point that would have to be purchased and therefore torn down to create sight lines. Is that still the design we're looking at? Yeah, that's my question.
No, I guess ideally it would be nice to sort of straighten it up and line everything, but recognizing that one of the objectives we had was to keep the existing building. We did some truck turning movements in different radiuses on the corner. I don't know if you can zoom in at all there, Darren, maybe. So we sort of traced the truck moving, the wheel paths through there, and we feel confident we can construct a new radius. It's a little bit tighter through there, but it would still offer a sidewalk around the corner through there. It will be maybe a little tighter, probably on the order of about 5 feet in that range. It's narrower than the rest, but it gets to the point where you don't have to take down the building or do any demolition or acquire the property. So it will work well. You know, sort of because of the tightness of the building to the sidewalk, your sight lines for pedestrians walking around, maybe it wouldn't be as clean as you'd ideally like to have it, but it is still feasible, and what we have proposed there would not require acquiring that property.
Yeah, and I'm glad, I know that was an issue raised here, I'm glad that we found a resolution. There's not a whole lot of built heritage left in the historic downtown, so I think it was important, especially with the new buyer and potential development there. It's good to see, so I appreciate that additional work and additional head scratching.
Thank you, Councillor. Anything else? Good. Thanks, Dave. Just a couple questions from
Sure,
the chair as
absolutely.
well. Maybe if you could, I think you touched on it, but for people, and we know that anytime there's change, people get a little apprehensive, but in particular traffic pattern changes.
Right.
Can you maybe just highlight the benefits of reorienting the traffic to a two-way there on that Water Street piece by O'Donoghue's?
Sure, absolutely. I think somebody alluded to earlier, they've seen vehicles come down there sort of on their own with it being a one-way. Being two-way does provide you direct access. You know, you've made a huge investment in your infrastructure down at the wharf area and developing that as a destination. And I understand, talking with Darren, that you know, a lot of people bring their boats down there, and you know, trying to navigate a one-way street with a trailer or a boat, you know, even the ability to take tour buses down there becomes sort of a navigational challenge. You know, wayfinding for people that are out of town. Sort of, I know people get used to navigating older cities with a lot of one-way networks, but this would be more in tune with what drivers' expectations would be to have a two-way street. Provides you, you know, certainly a change in operations, maybe for snow removal. Instead of being one way, it offers a different way to plow. Provides changes in, you know, perhaps emergency response times getting down to that area now that you have a direct access link, and provides a little bit of you know, certainly with the definition of curb lines and some lane lines, it provides a much safer, I would say, intersection in terms of how the traffic flow through there. I know from site visits that people are cutting through Johnson at different spots, and it's not consistent. And you know, if you want to mix your pedestrians in with your motorists, you want some sort of consistency in there in terms of crosswalks and sidewalks. So I think the safety of that whole stretch would be enhanced by having it modified in this fashion.
Great, perfect. And just to follow up on that, and then I'll get back to you, Councillor. You know, I like what we're seeing here, and you know, I'm always an advocate, and part of the downtown plan's objective that you mentioned is to make the downtowns much more pedestrian friendly,
yes,
safer for pedestrians, and think about that experience outside of the car, right? Like, we want people to be living and enjoying these downtown spaces, and so seeing the extra pieces of sidewalk. And I'd also note one of the other pieces that's been really important, it's, you know, not the focus of this though, is seeing that crosswalk identified across Duke Street so that there is now a safe pedestrian gateway from Duke Street down into the historic Water Street area immediately. So that's a big plus. And just in that sense, with that pedestrian crossing, right, will there be any lighting or anything, Director Rao, or maybe do we anticipate, because of the traffic flow changes, that the changes are big enough people will take notice of that crossing?
I guess in terms of concept, we haven't advanced it that far at this time. That certainly be something we could look at in terms of doing a crosswalk review or a warrant analysis there, just to see if it would be needed.
Yeah.
On Duke.
Yeah,
because your options there would be, you know, a rapid rectangular flashing beacon or an overhead.
You know, and there is a turn there, like where you just off the picture, and in off-peak hours, some people can be pretty brisk, so.
We did do an analysis there and did look at sight lines and stopping sight distances, and that was found, you know, to the various locations along that stretch to be the best location for it. And I know, you know, we could have put it on the opposite side of the street, but the challenge there is you have university coming in and water. You have two T intersections in very close proximity, plus you have the entrance, one of the entrances of the gas bar. So you've got a whole lot of stuff that drivers are trying to process in that area, and then to throw pedestrians in the mix probably wasn't the wisest idea. And as you move further along Duke Street as well, your sight lines become a little bit compromised by the proximity of the Tim Hortons building. So it's where we have it is where our review and our analysis recommended to be the best spot.
Great, thank you. And my last question before I go back to Councillor King is there, could you speak at all to some of the design aesthetic choices, or maybe there'll be another drawing that would highlight some of that, but the vision in the downtown plan includes some creativity around that, like colored, and we've been implementing in other areas, colored concrete and stamped concrete, and just, that sort of finishings.
Oh, absolutely. We haven't gotten to that stage yet, and there will be another iteration of this coming. As I alluded to, the sort of right by O'Donoghue's there, where the black line is behind the curb, or sort of behind where the sidewalk area is. The future iterations would have that removed, as you mentioned, enhancements such as colored or stamped concrete. You do have opportunities along that stretch. Part of the project will be renewing the overhead, or the street lighting along that route. So, you'll have the opportunity as well if you're looking at different amenities there, perhaps benches. You do have existing planters there that, you may want to rejuvenate. There's all kinds of ideas through there that you could certainly throw at it. I know you and I were talking before the meeting, the large bulb at the corner. If you look at your downtown master plan, it's got some, tables and different outdoor seating areas that you could have there. Sort of the sky's the limit in terms of what you want for amenities there to sort of grow and enhance that whole neighborhood.
Not quite a parquet, but a bulb.
Yes.
But a bulb. We've got a new term for the lexicon as well. Thank you. Thank you. I will go to Councillor King. Back to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just curious on this turn here, coming around here, take the front dualies. Do we have do we have the curves? Are they going to be the 6-inch high ones or the butterfly curves? Butterfly curves would be better for transports to come around there.
So, Councillor King, we briefly discussed.
Oh, Councillor King, just if you can turn your light off, so Director Rao can.
Sorry.
Yeah, so to Councillor King, we looked at this, and we get in further detailed analysis. We'll get into this, but it is our anticipation that we drop it down for the sidewalk anyway. Yeah. So if we have to carry it a little further and we get some off tracking of the vehicles, so they're not jumping the curb and things like that, we can look at that. Yes, that'll all come in later on. Yes.
The only reason I brought it up is because if you get transports going around there, they're going to walk from the side of that down, even the vehicle.
Absolutely.
Good point, Councillor King. Councillor Arsenault.
Last question. When do you anticipate starting, and how long do we expect it to take?
So we had discussed earlier of having the tender sort of ready and gone through the tender process in June, and we're looking at probably August, September construction time frame.
And for how long?
2 months, essentially.
2 months. Great. Thank you. And then just one sort of question, Director Rao. Now that we have the drawing, would we be able to schedule a time to present the project to the downtown BIA in the historic Chatham Business District?
Sure, to Your Worship. I guess next steps is to meet with the Downtown Association. Similar to what we did in Newcastle, I guess, is meet with the Downtown Association. They can spread the word. We've been in contact with the bank already because of the property acquisition as required. There's some details to work out there. This is the first step, I guess, and reach out to the gas bar as well. A little piece of property we have to acquire there. So we kind of move forward from this and get the word out and meet with all the stakeholders. Yes.
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 well, schedule permitting, I'd be happy to join you.
Sure.
To
Thanks.
present to the downtown BIA. So we got reps on both sides of the table there. And Dave, thank you. And we'll look forward to sort of that next iteration with some of those other details too. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
No motions here, Mr. Noel. Is that no motions? Yeah. Thank you. And I know Director Rao had mentioned as well that he'll send us a digital copy of the design so we can share that out on social media as well for to make sure we keep the public in the loop on all these positive changes. In the bulb. I'll meet you at the bulb. I think it's going to be good. Okay, so